in Kenya and a day of political drama for the country. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has sworn himself in as a so-called people's president. The rival inauguration comes after Odinga lost last year's election to President Uhuru Kenyatta. More than 10,000 people witnessed the rival swearing-in ceremony. CGTN's Susan Mwongeli has that story.
Government at first called the rival inauguration unconstitutional. Police had been put on alert in case of an illegal gathering.
Despite Uhuru Park being declared out of bounds to the public, opposition supporters have turned up and they are keen to ensure that the ceremony to swear in their leader Raila Odinga as president proceeds as planned.
Today we are here because of the presidency of Israel Odinga. We want the Raila Odinga to be sworn in today as early as possible as the 5th president of Kenya.
More than 10,000 people gathered to witness the event. It was mostly peaceful. But then, reports that some media broadcasters had been shut down. The opposition leader finally arrived late. Some of his key allies, though, did not attend. Odinga says he let his supporters know what his next move will be. But many of those supporters have expressed their disappointment over the events of Tuesday. Susan Mwongeli, CGTN in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay. Well, let's get you more now on the drama of the day. Susan Mwongeli joins me in studio now. Susan, as we saw, of course, from your report, you were right in the thick of things in Uhuru Park. Just talk us through the key elements of the day.
Well, Lindy, from early morning, we saw NASA opposition supporters coming to Uhuru Park to basically witness this ceremony where they believe that Raila Odinga is the legitimate president. And we saw people traveling from as far as Mombasa. We had others travel overnight from Kisumu, which is Raila Odinga's stronghold, all here coming to see this event, which they say is very historical. But basically, when you talk to most of the people and asking them what this means for them, many would say that it provides a sense of hope for them. And yeah, we saw a lot of, it was basically calm. There wasn't much going on. Raila did delay. He came in much later, and he arrived at around 2:30, and once he came in, it was an event that took about 10 minutes because he just came in straight and the Bible was there. He was given the Bible and the swearing ceremony happened. And immediately it happened. Everybody was asking, so what next? You know, it happens and what next? And yeah, it was also disappointing for many of them because one of the principals, who is Kalonzo Musyoka, his running mate, who was also supposed to be sworn in with him, was not there. And so many people were thinking, you know, how legitimate is this process? And yeah, so we were now, as it was coming to an end, you're asking these people, so what next? As in, now you've been there, you've wasted, not wasted your time, but you've come and witnessed all this, what next? So many of them are still waiting to see what Raila Odinga tells them to do coming next. But you can almost tell that, you know, there was a bit of disappointment in that.
And on that note, I mean, this question of what next, of course, this swearing-in ceremony is based on the fact that Raila Odinga legitimately believes that he won the elections last year. However, some would suggest that he hasn't presented any kind of significant or substantial proof to support that. What can you tell us about that?
Oh yes, time and time again, since last year, August, Raila Odinga has insisted that he won the elections, and his supporters do believe that he won these elections. And what he says is that that there were plans, or to, especially with the results, there was a systemic way that his numbers were reduced while those of Uhuru Kenyatta being inflated. But he's of course not been able to bring this forth. But then again, we have noticed that the electoral body has gone out of its way to poke holes into the evidence that he's trying to bring out, or the allegations that he's bringing forth. And even today, in one of the major dailies, we had a paid-up ad, full page by the electoral body, poking holes at this allegation, saying that one of them Raila has been insisting that the server, which has the results and all that, needs to be opened, and the electoral body says that it has been opened, and Raila also has that information, but he's not being truthful when he comes out to the people. So there's that. But also the other thing is that the fact that Raila Odinga did not participate in the repeat elections, that has kind of been, a lot of people have said that that was his undoing, because now how can he talk about election fraud or that if he did not participate in the first place? So this is some of the things that have been a bit weighing a bit hard on him.
Well, let's just leave it there for a moment, Susan. We will come back to you in just a moment. Of course, you touched on the fact there that all of this drama of today dates back to last year, to Kenya's election drama that in fact now has been going on for a number of months now. So let's just remind our viewers of some of the highlights of the past few months. CGTN's Thuli Shabalala has more.
It was a fierce political contest from the word go. 8 candidates were on the ballot, but in reality, the battle was between these two. The incumbent Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga making his 4th attempt at the presidency. August 8, 2017. The enthusiasm among Kenyan voters evident with long queues across the country.
I wish to declare Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta as President-elect.
3 days later, the Electoral Commission declared Kenyatta winner. Odinga immediately disputed the results, and protests broke out in opposition strongholds. August 19th. The opposition submitted tens of thousands of documents and filed a petition at the Supreme Court. It claimed the vote was rigged. September the 1st, an unprecedented decision.
That the presidential election held on 8th August 2017 was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution.
The Supreme Court nullified the election, citing irregularities. The reaction was immediate, with the president describing the Supreme Court judges as a bunch of crooks. The new vote was announced for the 17th of October. It was later moved to the 26th.
Fellow Kenyans, I wish to announce to you today, on behalf of the IBC,
the Electoral Commission cited it needed more time to prepare. Kenyatta went on the campaign trail again. In contrast, Odinga left the country to travel to the US and UK. And on October the 10th, Odinga withdrew from the election. With the opposition boycotting the vote, Kenyatta won the rerun.
I, Uhuru Kenyatta.
And on November 28th, he was sworn in as president. Many hoped that would end the drama of Kenya's election cycle. But that appears not to be the case. And 2018 may become another year of frustration and economic uncertainty for the East African nation. Thuli Shabalala, CGTN.
Well, indeed, a very eventful couple of months here in Kenya, and CGTN's Susan Mwongeli is still with us for more on this dramatic couple of months that we've seen. It's almost been 6 months now. Why do you think this election and post-election drama has continued? Why hasn't this controversy come to an end?
Well, first, Raila Odinga and his supporters believe that in the previous elections that he's won these elections and been rigged out. So they really are adamant that they're going to keep up this cause. And Raila Odinga is on record as saying that he's not going to stop at anything and will ensure that there's electoral justice and also historical justice. Now, most of his supporters, his strongholds, these are people who feel that they've been left out of the government. The previous governments have left them out from development. So they feel that this is the only hope that they have, that by Raila championing this cause, that something can come out of it. But at the same time, his supporters, they just see him as, like he's giving them hope, because for them, they see that they've pegged, like poverty will end once, Raila becomes president. Or they also feel that once he's president, there'll be jobs and just basically life will be better. So Raila is also under pressure from his supporters. And also there's talk that he might not be eligible to vie again. So again, it's a matter of it's now or never. So that's why he really needs to keep this up to ensure that, you know, he gets as much as he can from this fight.
As you're suggesting there, a lot at stake for Raila Odinga and perhaps the community of his supporters, but a lot at stake for the country too. And there was certainly a sense at the beginning of 2018 that, you know, the country might be ready to put all of this in the past. Isn't there a sense of fatigue beginning to set in now amongst the population?
Interestingly, today at the event, I actually did feel that sense of fatigue, especially after the swearing in. You could see people, you know, they're wondering, okay, fine, we've spent sleepless nights, we've spent so much here. There's one person who was telling me that he closed his business in Kisumu and traveled at his own expense to come to Nairobi for the swearing in, but still he doesn't know the way forward. So basically there's that fatigue, and just not with the supporters. Generally, even in Kenya, 2017 was really not a good year for Kenyans. And when you talk to them, they'll tell you that a majority of them lost a lot of money, businesses went down, and the Kenyan economy has not been doing so well. So a lot of people, like for example today, so many kids did not go to school, so many businesses stayed closed. So many people just thinking, you know, can we get over with this and let's just focus on something else, because everything that has been attempted so far has not worked. So let's just focus on building the economy and something like that.
Well, let's hope that's indeed what happens, as we ask, of course, what's next. Susan Mwongeli here in the studio with us on the swearing-in ceremony of Raila Odinga.